Hey you guys, welcome back to Angel Angela, and on this topic I wanted to talk about something that I go through and that I'm pretty sure a lot of people, when you get out of narcissistic relationships, you know, you might deal with social anxiety. Some people don't deal with it because, you know, sometimes they ain't been through enough, or they ain't went through they haven't experienced a narcissist in every aspect of their life, so they might not go through it as much, especially if you have like a big network of people. But when you get to the point where you have a very small circle, and even with your small circle you're very critical about who you share information with, because you know that certain people, they don't know the aspect of respecting what you share with them, right? So one thing with me is that when people share things with me, I don't feel the need to go and tell someone else, or I don't feel the need, some people do it, to build a connection with the people around them, like their family, friends, and their partners. You tend to share things with them. But certain things, what I've learned, even when being with the narcissist, is that when you share things with them, they like to interpret every little thing that you're saying. So and they do it in a way where they don't really know that person the way you know them, or they've already made up an opinion about that person, and that opinion can change the reality of how you view that person, and will make you even feel like, oh well, if the narcissist doesn't really like that person, then that means that they don't really like me being around that person, because that person's really not that great. So now everything that person has done out of kindness, out of a friendship, and that person hasn't done anything to you, they might go through their own experiences and trials and tribulations. So now the narcissist is picking at that person's trials and tribulations. So you see a lot of times where people, they don't fuck with you and you ain't got to do nothing to them, is that they share things about you with the people around them. I've even had friendships where that's happened, where they're sharing things that I say to their family, and then I come around their family and their family is talking to me like they know me, or they're bringing up things that are private to me, and then now I'm looking at that person like I don't have an obligation to share my part of myself with the people around you. But I guess, you also see that some people, they don't do it out of spitefulness. At least that's what they feel like in the moment. They feel like they might even be clueless about it, right? So then if you bring it up to them, they're kind of like, oh, I just wanted to pray. My family, we're very religious. We're very this, we're very that. But then you will find that certain people in their family or people around, they don't really like you, or they might even feel like you're a bad influence, or whatever the case is. So you learn that sharing things, it's like when you share things, you just do not win, right? You share your pain, everyone is telling you that you're a victim, or you're trying to heal yourself through others. Or if you share what you've been through, even with people online, they interpret everything that you say to fit their expectations of you, and they might feel like you're being hypocritical, right? So it gets to the point where you're just like, I can't help nobody. I can't really save nobody, because people don't really care about the truth. And even if you tell them the truth, they're still gonna they're still going to go by their emotions, right? They're going to go by their emotions, and you can understand that because when you were in that matrix and narcissists were preying on your emotions in all aspects of your life, you found yourself in confusion. You found yourself even in disbelief, right? So eventually you become a very observant person. You're observing people's mannerism. You're observing how people talk to you, how people treat you, how people invade your privacy. It's like if they can't figure you out, they want to invade your mind so bad, your thoughts, that they want to provoke even scenarios to get an emotional reaction out of you. And it doesn't matter what kind of reaction you give them, because it seems like that's what they seek. Sometimes they talk about you, they give you faces, they look at one another and as if you're stupid, as if you don't see them, as if they're invisible. You see that social media really fucked up a lot of people, especially this generation. People feel like they can say what they want to say, and it's almost like there's no more rules, right? And if you defend yourself, you might be even putting your own life in danger. It's kind of like, when you're a kid and you get into a school fight, you get suspended as well, even though you had to defend yourself towards the bully, because you're expected not to do anything. You're expected not to feel any emotions and just be a punching bag and not defend yourself. And if you defend yourself, it's not about right or wrong. It's about popularity. It's about looks. It's about social connections, right? I'm fully charged. Well, kind of. So it gives you, and you become very, you become very aware of your energy and the energy you want to put out to others. So, if you have social anxiety, you'll feel like, oh, today's not a good day for me to be around people, because if somebody do something to me, it's not so much that I care, because I really don't care, but their energy brings me down. It feels like it's taking energy from me just by being around them, close to them even trying to touch me. It's like their energy just bring you down. So you are aware of your own energy, and you feel like you preserve your own energy. And when you're around people feel your peace. They feel that you're preserving your energy, and it makes them angry, because they think that you're angry because they feel like they cannot figure you out. And it's none of their business to even try to figure you out, because you have no ties to them. But for some reason, they feel that peace. So they feel like if you must be insecure, you must be depressed, you must be stupid, you must be someone who doesn't speak up for themselves, someone who people walk over. And when you show them that, you might be quiet, observant, polite, but you're not dumb, and you will not allow someone to disrespect you either. It makes them uncomfortable. And you are someone who never wants people to feel uncomfortable. So you keep trying to be peaceful, but it seems like they become angry because they feel like you being peaceful is being fake, and you're hiding something, and you're not fitting into their narrative. So now that person's anger starts to show, it starts to sweat on them, and now they're thinking of ways to antagonizing you. if it's slamming something, if it's huffing and puffing, if it's saying something about someone else, but they're trying to indirectly say it about you, or they might just feel like you don't deserve your status, you don't deserve what you have, you don't deserve your peace, you don't deserve, it's like they don't even want you to be alive or something. You feel this type of hate, you feel their thoughts of you, you feel their hate, their racism, you feel their judgment, you feel their emotions. If they're angry and it's got nothing to do with you, you feel their anger, you feel their sadness, you feel everything. So you get social anxiety, not because you're socially awkward or people scare you in any kind of way, but their energy is a lot. It's heavy. Most people do not have good energy. Most people's frequency, their energy is low. They're pretenders because they don't even know how to be respectful or polite, or they feel like politeness is anger, or it's aggressiveness, or they feel like having boundaries is like you're aggressive for having boundaries. So now they're like, oh, if anything that I do is going to tick you off because you're too polite, so something's going to tick you off. If anything I do is going to tick you off, so I don't like you because I see you got boundaries, so I don't like you. So you get a lot of energy from people, and sometimes people feel you because sometimes people are in need, or they might need help, or they just needed kind words. They just needed someone to listen, and it makes them feel good that, hey, someone listened, I needed that. So in moments where you're in that social setting and you were able to be of service to someone, you do feel good. You do feel that your energy was put forth towards something great, right? But this is why a lot of times, like I said, when you leave these type of relationships and you get like social anxiety, you start paying attention too much to what's going on, and you might have moments of bliss, right? You might have moments where you're on that high. Nothing can stop you. People's energies, the looks they give, their whispers, their judgment, none of that shit bothers. It don't matter to you. They can tell it don't matter to you, and it won't affect you in any kind of way, right? But then you have moments where you're not necessarily depressed, but it's the realization of the matrix that you're in, the realities of the world or worlds, people's different worlds, the reality of everything, the disconnection from that people have towards one another, the hate people have towards one another. All that shit can bring you down and give you periods of times where you're just, you don't have any. It's like, if you get back to that sad point that you were at one point in your life, it's just gonna go downhill. So it's almost like you become a robot and you're just almost like existing, and you're disconnected from who you used to be, but at the same time you're connected to the new version of you who feels like an infinite being, but you feel trapped in your body, you feel trapped in your circumstances, you feel trapped in society, and that gives you social anxiety. The future gives you social anxiety. Certain things don't matter to you anymore, and the bigger picture now becomes scarier because you don't have control of anything but living to live another day and doing the best that you can, right? So the social anxiety is also kind of fucked up because you're not someone who lets people fuck with you. So part of your social anxiety is if somebody, you almost feel like I'm doing everything right, you know, I'm doing everything right. I'm not taking nothing out on nobody. You know, I'm not hurting anybody. But part of the social anxiety is, you know, somebody gonna fuck with you for no reason. And you know that because you have been pushed to the limit, when people play with you, you know, like, I could take it real far with you. I could take it however, I could go back and forth with you, but I know if I go back and forth with you, I'm not gonna win, because I'm gonna have to, because the narcissist always wants to take it a step further. So you know, all we gonna end up, all it's gonna boil up to is wanting to hurt each other. So why you even say anything or do anything in the first place, right? So part of the social anxiety is you don't want people playing on your emotions, because your emotions is something that you try to keep. Your emotions are the only thing you have control over. You know what I'm saying? So it's like part of the social anxiety is like not wanting anyone to have that, think that they have control over your emotions, and also going through situations where you can't show emotion because you know that's what they want. But that feeling of it's almost like you get anxiety, because it's like, why did you even put me in that situation? I'm not going to defend myself because there's nothing to defend. But it's like, why you even do that for? So that can bring anxiety. And it's not necessarily like you're scared of them or anything, but it's like and it's not that you're going to think about that person, you know, because you ignored them. They're like a speck of dust in your reality. You know that if you entertain it, then yeah, you're going to feel defeated by the end of the day, because you're going to replay what happened, what was said, right? But when you ignore it, you might get that little anxiety, but it's going to disappear right away. It's going to disappear. You know, you're going to realize that that's what they wanted and it didn't work, and you're going to feel good about it. But you do get that social anxiety, because it's like, why did I even have to go through that? You know, and even the way you talk to people, your tone of voice, all of that, you know, you try to be peaceful, but some people, they take advantage of that, and then now they're talking to you crazy, like with dictatorship, or like calling you pet names, and they're talking to you weird. And when you're not, when you're bumping into all these strangers and making all these social connections, but you're not connecting to people. You're making all these social connections, but you're not truly connecting to nobody, but you're just feeling their energy, and it just feels like bursts of energy over and over and over again. And you know, so that's why a lot of times when you tend to be by yourself in your thoughts, you know how to be peaceful, you know how to love yourself, you know your worth, you know you're not willing to put up with certain things or be around certain people that are bringing you down. You know what I'm saying? When you get to that point, you realize that people's energies, you have to be very careful about who you're around, what you take in. Even the people around you, the people closest to you, sometimes you need a break from them, and they know it has nothing to do with you and them. They know that you're most likely taking time for yourself, and when you're ready to reconnect, you will, right? Some people don't understand that. Some people want control over your emotions and your thoughts, so that's where that social anxiety comes from. You know, being around people with dark energy, being around them long enough, it starts to even anger you. Like, it's not like you're angry, but it's like you feel the heaviness of them, right? If it feels like, I need to get away from you. I don't want you around my bubble, because you feel the hate. You know, it's not, you don't feel the real relaxation. You feel the hate for no reason. So I hope that this was helpful for people, you know, who deal with it. I deal with it a lot, and this is why a lot of times I haven't really made any content in a while, because you know, there's no beating the beast. You know, I shared a lot, what to expect. They're never gonna stop. These people not gonna stop, you know. And you get to a point where you have to just find peace with that shit. But once you find peace with it, you realize you can't escape it, and that will give you social anxiety, because you're always having to look out for yourself. And some people might think, oh, you over exaggerating, but no, when you're fully awake, it's like there's no going back to sleep, and you're observant of everything around you. And every time you see things coming, people might think, oh, you're over exaggerating, but everything that you see coming turns to reality. So and it's not because you're focused on it, but it's because you're observant. So I hope that this message, you guys, was helpful. I'm sending you guys lots of love, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Love you guys. Bye.